Hi, guys. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Awesome.
Very well, thank you. Can you start by telling me about your educations and backgrounds, please?
Sure, I'll go first. I'm Melanie Notkin, and I'm a longtime graduate of McGill University in Canada. But I now, and why I'm here is I'm an advocate for women and them telling their true stories. I have a company called Savvy Auntie, and my second book is called Otherhood, Modern Women, Finding a New Kind of Happiness, and it's about women sharing their true stories about their fertility, infertility, their circumstances, singlehood, and their desire for motherhood.
And I'm Aimee Holland from Birmingham, Alabama. I am a nurse practitioner with a focus in women's health. I sit on the board of directors for the National Association of Nurse Practitioners in Women's Health, and I'm on faculty at the University of Alabama at Birmingham School of Nursing.
Now, what are the most common women's health issues?
Most common women's health issues? That's a great question, Michelle. So they vary across the lifespan, but I would have to say, first and foremost, women want to know, what am I at risk for and how can I prevent it? So I encourage all women, just like the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommend, an annual exam with your gynecology provider to ask the questions that are important to you and to find out what screenings, such as cervical cancer screening, are recommended.
Now, which tests should women get and when?
So cervical cancer screening is one of the most important screenings that a woman will have throughout her life. They start at 21 years of age, and women between the ages of 21 to 29 need a Pap test every 3 years. Women 30 to 65 need a Pap test plus HPV together every 5 years. So we are so thankful to represent Hologic today and to hopefully empower your listeners so that they will ask the important questions related to their health.
Well, please tell me more about this survey. What is it?
Yes, so there was a survey of women and how they prepare in advance before they see their healthcare provider. So I don't know if you can relate to some of this, but 85% of us wake up in the morning, right, I have that gynecologist appointment today. Maybe I'm going to spend a little more time in the shower, right? In fact, 7 out of 10 of us spend about 7 minutes more in the shower. And 7 out of 10 of us will maybe shave or clean up down there. And then we're worried about now, okay, well, which underwear should we wear? We're like open the drawer and like staring there for a couple of minutes, like my granny panties, my pretty lingerie. The truth is, while 8 out of 10 of us choose those granny panties, it doesn't really matter because 4 out of 5 of us end up hiding them anyway under our sweater, right? So, and then once we get into that room, 79% of us, which would include me, all of a sudden go, do I have to go to ladies' room? And then, oh, do I have time? Run to ladies' room, get back. Ooh, keep my socks on. 4 out of 5 of us want to keep our toes warm because the rest of us is open. Although we do put on a gown, although some of us can't figure out it's in the back, 55%, 45% opens in the front, but 20% of us, and this is what I love, want to accessorize it. We think we can do a better job with these gowns. So the survey showed us that women are, no question, we're spending a lot of thinking time from the moment we wake up to the moment the health practitioner walks into the room. But what we're not doing enough of is thinking about the conversations we should have and the questions that we should ask. So those extra 7 minutes we're spending in the shower, maybe we can think about all the things that we want to ask our healthcare provider. And we should go to healthywomen.org, and it has a lot of answers there, a lot of information, and maybe there'll be questions we hadn't even thought of to ask. What we're finding is women are prepared for the exam, but as I know Aimee has experience with, not in the ways that healthcare providers expect.
Well, what are some questions that women should be asking that typically are not?
Yeah, women should be asking, first and foremost, what screens do I need today at this annual GYN exam? What steps do I need to take to prevent certain sicknesses, illnesses, and diseases? How does my family history impact my future health?
Now, were there some surprise findings of this survey, of the study?
For me, as a women's health nurse practitioner, yes. I was stunned to find that women prepare for the exam, but not in the way that I thought they would. Like Melanie mentioned, they're spending more time preparing on the outside when it would be most helpful for them to write questions down that are so important to them. What keeps you up at night? What do you worry about regarding your health? Your healthcare provider wants to partner with you to answer those questions. Peace of mind, so important. Also, women have good intentions, but what the surveys showed us is that they don't always follow through with asking. Only about 40% of women ask about those important questions to them. That's why the GYN annual exam is so important.
Do you believe most women are honest with their doctors about what they need, or do you think they tend to lie?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't have data on whether or not how they lie or if they're honest, but what we do know is they have really good intentions. But whether or not they follow through, well, all of a sudden they would rather talk about what they saw on TV the other night, or maybe the weather. And that's about 25% of us for each. So it's less about lying, and I think it's more about distracting ourselves with things that we feel more comfortable with. So, what I think is most important that they understand is making sure that they understand what screenings they need. I know Aimee will tell you about those, what screenings they need and when. Because those screenings, Michelle, can save their lives. They are in charge of their life. They have to make sure that they can't just assume that their healthcare provider is providing them with all the information and all the screenings that they need. It's up for each woman when she walks into that exam room to be prepared to ask the right questions, get the answers, get the screenings she needs, and tell her true story.
And Michelle, I'd like to say one more thing. It's so important that a woman choose a healthcare provider that she feels comfortable with. If you feel comfortable with your healthcare provider, you shouldn't feel like you'll be judged if you do or don't say the right thing. So if they feel led to not be honest or not fully tell the truth, maybe they need to ask the question, am I with the right provider? And there's nothing wrong with that, because your healthcare provider needs to know the truth in order to take the best care of you.
Thank you very much for that. Melanie, quick question for you.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write Otherhood?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's through my own experience. It's a reported memoir. It's about women like me, Gen X, the older millennials who, got the college education and the career that our mothers may not have had the access to. And yet we expected the husband, love, and the children that they did have. Only many of us, among the most well-educated, most financially independent, have remained single and childless despite our deepest yearnings. So I wanted to tell our story, and Otherhood is our story. We may not be mothers, but yet we are finding new ways of happiness. Of course, many women of the Otherhood will become mothers. But again, it's about telling our true stories. It's not because we're career women. There are no career men. Nobody assumed a man can't have a career and fall in love. And I don't believe I ever said no to a proposal because I had a meeting and a couple hours away. So it's about telling the whole story, the true story, and getting all the information. So that's where my inspiration for Otherhood came from, and that's why I'm so proud to be part of this. Because our cervical health is so important, and it's up to us to tell our true stories. And if we follow the script, and if we tell white lies, well, then we're not helping ourselves. We're not enabling our health provider to tell us all of the information that we need, like the screenings we need.
Now, two more quick things. One, what is Auntie's Day?
Oh, Auntie's Day. I established it in 2009. It's the annual day to celebrate aunts and godmothers and all the other mothers in a child's life. It is the fourth Sunday in July, and this year, 2017, it will be July 23rd, and it's a way for the nieces and nephews and godchildren by relation, by choice, to call their aunt, to text their aunt, and for the sisters and brothers, to the siblings of the parents, to thank their sisters and friends for loving their children.
So it's so important.
As an auntie, I appreciate that one.
Oh, good.
Now, for both of you guys, is there anything else you'd like to add where people can find more information on
Yes. So
women
21 to 29 need a PAP every 3 years. Women 30 to 65 need PAP plus HPV together every 5 years. They can go to healthywomen.org to find more about that and schedule that annual exam. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, guys. Good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.